Hi there. Welcome and welcome back, everybody. Tabletop Toki here. Apologies if you hopped on the other stream for some reason. My sound wasn't working. Don't you just love it when software updates and just screws with all your stuff? Yeah. So, happy Valentine's Day, by the way. This video couldn't have come at a better time, and it's definitely a strategic choice, and not because I was busy and inundated with other boring life adult stuff. Boo. So I figured, on an actual holiday, how many people reach out and say happy holidays? But 2 weeks later, maybe bring some of that magic back. So here we are. Today we're going to go through some love/romantically themed games. And I have to say that when I originally thought of the theme for this tier list, it's like, yeah, perfect. Valentine's Day, romance. There have to be quite a few games about that, right? Turns out I'm wrong. A lot of the games that I looked up on lists were just like adult themed games or like naughty versions of games. So I tried to stay away from that as much as possible, although there are some games on this list that are a little bit on the more interesting side. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Thanks if you're joining live. Good to see you in the chat. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining. And good to see you. Thanks for joining if you're watching this video in the future. Before we jump into the games here, I do want to say a huge shout out to our sponsor, Noble Knight Games. If any of the games on today's list sound interesting to you and you're looking for a good deal or want to check them out for yourself, definitely go ahead and see if Noble Knight has any copies in stock. Fun fact, I just the other day received a huge box from them containing one of the most expensive games I now own, which I will be unboxing tomorrow on stream. Very excited for our March unboxing. Not only am I super excited for that stream and super grateful to Noble Knight, but it was actually cheaper than what the full Kickstarter price was with shipping, just to get it through Noble Knight secondhand after the fact, which in this day and age, can you imagine paying less than the actual price for a big Kickstarter item? So, the proof speaks for itself. If you're looking for some great deals on games, please feel free to check them out. And certainly any of the games on this list, they always have inventory coming in and out. So even if they don't have a particular game, you can put it on your wish list like I did with tomorrow's unboxing game, and they'll notify you as soon as they have copies in stock. But without further ado, let's jump into our tier list here. So we have quite a few games that are games that I have played, and similar to last month's tier list, there are some here as well that I haven't. So I have our BGG tab open. We're going to jump in, explore, dive in together, and see what we've got going. So the first game we have here is called And Then We Held Hands from 2015. And it is loading very slowly. So this is a cooperative game where basically you're going to be placing out beads by playing different cards, and maybe we can even see a picture if it decides to cooperate. All right. So it's a two-player game. Like I said, you're going to be playing different cards, placing out beads, trying to connect like these different pathways based on different kinds of like emotions and things. So it's all about that inner peace, connecting with another person. When I first heard about this game, I was really excited about it. I thought, wow, that sounds super cool. I love two-player games, especially cooperative ones. I think that there are some really interesting dynamics with that. But this one really missed the mark for me. I tried it a couple different times with a couple different people, and it never quite hit mechanically. I thought the theme was really cool. As you can see, it's a couple in strife trying to play cards to work together to salvage their relationship, which sounds more tumultuous than the cover and artwork would suggest, perhaps. So for me, I wouldn't say it's an outright fail. I think if you get a chance to try it out and you're a fan of these style of games, it's worth giving it a shot, but it's not necessarily one that I would say go out of your way to try it. Yeah, a 6.0. So I would say this is probably pretty firmly in the D tier for me. After like 2-3 plays, I was pretty convinced like, oh, this is probably going to be better served elsewhere. So that's that one for me. The next one is one that is pretty popular. I think in terms of like two-player games about love, this is really kind of one of the most prominent ones, and it's called Fog of Love. So many of you may have heard of it. It is a two-player kind of RPG-ish style game where you're playing as two different lovers who have their own personalities and goals who are trying to navigate a relationship together. So you might have some like secret objectives, some things that you're working on together, and basically through like acting through it and playing through different types of emotions, getting balance on different aspects of your board that match up with your personalities versus the other person's. You kind of go through and you get these prompts of dialogue. There are some interesting expansions, including a paranormal romance, which I was interested in trying, but I never got around to. I do think that the base game is very interesting. It's definitely a lot different than any other game that I've ever tried. And if you really enjoy the role-playing aspect of games or think that that would be fun with a partner, that would be really cool. And when I say partner, I don't necessarily mean the person that you're dating. I've seen a lot of testimonials of people kind of like in a relationship thinking, oh, this is a perfect couples game, but like you're not supposed to play technically. It's not intended for you to play as yourself. You're supposed to play as a character who's engaging in some stage of a relationship and progressing through it as with another character. So it can be really cool to try with different people if that's your bag. I think this is a pretty strong standing. For me personally, it was super interesting, but not being a huge fan of like RPGs and that sort of thing, other than some solo RPGs, which I have been really enjoying, I would say that this one would be, it's kind of between a B and a C for me. I think based on like the novelty and how unique it is and how it actually does feel kind of like a game, not just an RPG where you do have some of those goals, but it's not completely selfish. You know, you want to balance the relationship as well. I think there's some interesting aspects with that. And I'd be curious to hear if any of y'all have experience with any of the expansions, if there's any content for it that you recommend versus not. That would be really cool to hear since I've only gotten to play a little bit of the base game in the past. All right, so moving on, we have Ravens of Thri. I always pronounce this wrong. It's one of those words that you see it on the paper and your brain doesn't really comprehend the syllables. So Sahashri, I believe is how it's pronounced. And welcome to those of you who are just joining in the chat. Good to see you. Happy Valentine's Day. So this is a two-player cooperative game, not dissimilar to some of these other games, where you are, one character is playing as, I believe their names are Ren, and I forgot the other character's name. But you have these two characters. One of them is trapped in a dream state. So she's trying to communicate and like sift through the dreams when Ren's going in and trying to free her, communicating together by playing these little window cards here. And based on like the colors and numbers, you're overlapping them and trying to complete these dream sequences while avoiding these crow cards in the bottom, which are negative and can overwhelm you. Meanwhile, as Ren's putting out these dream fragments, the other character is taking them, adding them to lines of a poem that you're trying to complete. The story is very, it's a little out there for sure, but there's a whole booklet about how they met and like, you know, fell in love. And now he's trying to save her from this comatic state that she's in. Is that a word? Comatic? But I will say that while it is very out there and it plays very asymmetrically, it is a fascinating game. It's one that I've really enjoyed. There are different chapters where you can get different cards as well. This is kind of what the like dream sequence board might look like after a couple of plays, with overlapping certain areas of cards, trying to match numbers to get certain powers and have more abilities so that you can manipulate that poem. Overall, it's like 3 sessions back to back or 3 rounds back to back as you're playing through, if you get that far. And I think it's a really interesting one. I've not played a game that's quite like it. It's a little on the longer side for what you might expect from like a 2-player card game, and the size of the box is very, very petite, but it is a really cool experience. If you can get through the rules, a little challenging, but the game itself is really, really cool. So I definitely would put this one at an A. It might be an S if the rules had a little bit more ease of use in terms of reading and learning, but mechanically it's super solid. And even though this is not necessarily my bag in terms of the aesthetic and the story, they did a really good job of crafting it and kind of putting it into workable mechanics with that asymmetry as well. So that one's going to sit at a solid A for me. All right, Too Many Cinderellas is the next one that we have on the list. And today's Valentine's Day. I mean, we can celebrate love all month long. Like I said at the beginning, this definitely isn't coming late because I was super busy and because there was a convention too on Valentine's Day and the other 2 days in that weekend, which was perfect timing. But yeah, flowers and overpriced dinner. Yo guys, anybody wants some flowers and overpriced dinner? Hit me up. Let's go. Sushi? I don't know. So back to the list, we have Too Many Cinderellas. So this is a 2 to 4 multi-use card game with some hand management. Essentially, the prince, although we love him, he's a bit of a ditz, as we all know. So he's going to believe whatever rumors people tell him about Cinderella. Everybody's going to have a hand of different potential suitors for the prince who could be Cinderella, ranging from number 1, actual Cinderella, to number 18, a cat in a wig. There's like an anime schoolgirl, an old man. There's just a whole cast of characters. And basically, the prince is so dumb that he cannot remember who this chick is, what she looks like, what she likes. Nothing about her. He must have been smashed at the ball. So essentially, each round, you're going to be placing out a card that has a rumor at the bottom. For example, this gentleman down here, if we can scroll to where my head isn't blocking it, says, well, okay, yeah, it's a little hard to see, but he says, well, Cinderella is not even brunette. Y'all see that? And other people might spread other rumors. So all of the cards will have different kinds of traits on them. And it's like, oh, if we vote that, yes, Cinderella is not a brunette, I heard that too. Yes, no, everybody plays a token. Then all of the characters who have brown hair will be disqualified from the running. And at the end of all those rumors and voting on it, you'll have 2 cards left. And whoever has the lowest valued card that matches all of the rumors will be awarded with the glass slipper and get a point and win the game. So is it a game of smash or pass? I mean, kind of, yeah. When we play, we get really catty with it. There's one where it's like, oh, certain characters like books. So we'll put down a card and be like, yo, I heard this bitch can't even read. What? You get to vote on whether Cinderella likes books or not. Like, it's pretty fun. Weirdly enough, this is one of the games that I really get into the RP of. I don't know if I'm just just love tea. Love the idea of gossip, but it can be pretty hilarious, especially with some of the characters that could end up being Cinderella based on the qualifications of those rumors. Yeah, my only complaint with this game is that it only plays to 4 players, which fair. It's balanced that way. It's a perfect, quick little game. I wish I could just show it to more people all at once, though, because it's such an excellent, excellent time. So this one for me is definitely an S tier game. If you ever have a chance to play a copy, there's the original Japanese edition. Grail Games released an edition a while back as well. And it is a hoot. Very concise, very well designed with those multi-use cards and the voting system. Super clever, witty, funny. It's the whole package. So that's Too Many Cinderellas. The next one we have is also a Cinderella-based game, but I believe it's called Cinderella Magic. Let's see if that comes up. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Let's try one more time. So this one is another Japanese game where you are trying to end with the best cards, but did I do a typo? How do you spell Cinderella? There we go. Hey, look at all these Cinderella games. That's wild. Okay, so we have Cinderella Magic, 3 to 7 players, so a bigger player count. A little less concise with the gameplay, though. Basically, you have all these different types of elements that go into Cinderella's story. You're playing them, trying to swap out cards and get the best, I think it's a combination of cards, or yeah, at the end. So you're putting all these cards into the mix, into the ball, trying to deduce what other people have. It's a little bit chaotic. It's, like I said, less concise than something like Too Many Cinderellas. But yeah, basically you need all of the right items to go to the ball. Some can be played face up for the ability, some can be played face down. So there's a little bit of bluffing. The word I would use to describe this game is like sloppy fun. There's, some fun elements in there, and I think it's very entertaining, but it's not super strategic. Like, there is a lot of random chance with which cards could be in the mix and how they interact with each other. But I do think it's a very charming game. I personally am a huge fan of the art and aesthetic, so that definitely plays into my personal bias for that. So I would say, that being said, mechanically, it's probably closer to maybe D tier, but I think that the presentation and like the amount of fun that you can have playing it, if you take it as like this is just a fun kind of romp around to see who gets what cards, and then we reveal it, oh, I can't believe you played a pumpkin instead of a slipper. I totally thought you were going for it. There are some fun moments with it, and it's quick enough too that like it's not a huge investment where like strategizing for 2.5 hours and then find out, oh, it was random the whole time. So I would say that one sits at a C for me. Sloppy Fun was my nickname in high school. Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. So we have the next game, which is one that I haven't played, called Council of Verona. So we're going to check this one out a little bit. So we have Influence, Prince, Aeschylus's Council to end the Capulets and Montague conflict. So this is based on the story of Romeo and Juliet. It's got a 6.3, 2 to 5 players, 20-minute play time. And it is a card game. We can see that for sure. I know that this one is pretty popular, so if anybody in the chat has any insights that can help us put this on the list somewhere appropriate. For me, it's going to go into want to try or not interested. I've heard really good things about this game. I've just never had an opportunity to try it out for myself. So let's see what we've got here. You're taking on the role of influential citizens of Verona and acting to use their influence to add characters to the council or cast them into exile. Thoughtful hand management, that's a plus. Clever placement of influence tokens. You're going to gain points based on the agendas of characters of the game, and whoever has the most victory points wins. Interesting. So I would say that based on like the arts and based on some of those elements that seem very similar, this is one that I'm not super interested in playing. I have had opportunities to try it in the past where like somebody has had it in their game bag, but it's always felt like there are other options that spoke to me more. Again, if y'all have any insights or any great anecdotes about this game, let me know. I'm open to, my interest being piqued, but I think at this time, this is one that I'm not super interested in trying out. It's Council of Verona, a Nomeo version. Yeah. I think too, like maybe a reskin or something that seems a little bit less tired, might pique my interest, but yeah, I think there's nothing there theme-wise or mechanically that sounds different enough from some other similar games that I really, really like to tell me, like, hey, this is one you need to check out. Next up on the list, we have Holiday Hijinks, the Cupid Crisis. So I'm going to abstain from putting this on all the lists because I've done many holiday-themed ones, but I figured there are very few games about actual Valentine's Day, so this would be a good one to include. The Holiday Hijinks series is from Grand Gamers Guild, and they are a series of 18-card escape games with little puzzles on the sides of the cards. They're very concise, very to the point. I wasn't sure how much I would like these. Full disclosure, I do like these types of games, like RuneScape, deduction-y, little story games, but I hadn't tried one of these necessarily until I tried the Christmas one, which I got through Noble Knight, other sponsor, check them out in the link below, a couple months ago for Christmas. And I have to say that I was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked that one and how much was packed into a little 18 card, concise, non-app integrated experience. So this is definitely one that I would love to try. The Cupid Crisis specifically, I think would be really fun and cute. And I love the idea that those little chocolates look like they're like skulls peeking up. So there's a little air of mystery there and macabre. I haven't played Cupid's Crisis specifically, but I would say that like in general, I have a very positive association with the Holiday Hijinks series. So I would say this is like a B for me. In terms of like the cost and how much enjoyment you get out of the small package, I think it's like very high. So that one's really fun. And in the chat, we have a question, opinion on app integrated board games. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Like, it depends on how well it's integrated and whether it would just be better as an app versus having physical components. So something like the Unlock series, where the app feels like a tool, but the game feels like it's really at the table, I'm fine with that. Other things like using the app as in conjunction with Descent or using the app for like Chronicles of Crime, I feel like I'm more just playing a video game and then playing catch up with the things on the table, if that makes sense. So in those cases, I prefer like, if it's a board game, keep it pretty much a board game with some accessory. If it's mostly digital, then just go full digital. That's my personal preference. So when there are games that have a clear delineation, like Cupid Crisis, and they find unique, interesting ways to use the cards and fill in some of those gaps where it would have been easy to be like, oh, we'll just put a little app in there. I really prefer that, and I think there's like a lot of innovation there that I really enjoy. So there's Holiday Hijinks, Cupid Crisis. The next game on the list is one that it is probably one of the most out there themes of games that I've ever owned or played. It's called Kune vs. Lakia, a chronicle of a royal Leping divorce foretold. It's about royal bunny divorce. What a cool game. So basically, it's a 2-player head-to-head game where one person is playing as Prince Kune and one person is playing as Princess Lakia. You're 2 rabbits, and unfortunately, you're just not able to make it work. You're going to go back and forth to the different advisors of your council, trying to get them on your side and divvying up your assets to make sure that you come out on top. It is a wild ride of a game, and I for sure thought, with a theme this crazy, how good can this game actually be? I actually found that it was way more interesting and engaging than I thought it would be at first glance. There's a lot of cool play with like bribing the different officials and getting different combinations of items and cards, and those different powers that you can use. So yeah, I I really actually enjoyed this one quite a bit. It's definitely very unique. It's a lot more straightforward, I think, than the rules. I remember being a little bit challenging to get through, but if you're down for some whimsical fun and like one of the most out there themes with some really interesting, fun little mechanics, this would be a cool one to check out. I wouldn't say that it's like it blew my mind in terms of the mechanics, but it was definitely a really pleasant surprise in terms of how good it was versus where my expectation was. So that's Kune vs. Lakia, bunny divorce game in the flesh. Pretty cool there. All right, next one is called Rose Ceremony. This is another one that I haven't played before, so we're going to check it out together. So it says, set your heart on a player of your choice and offer them a rose. Will they accept? 3 to 6 players, 15 minutes. Wait, 1.0. So it seems like a pretty easy peasy, straightforward game. If we look here, yeah, we've got like some different flowers and things like that. And it looks like there are numbers on there, some hearts. So basically you're trying to get someone to accept your proposal. Let's see. So create bouquets of roses to win points, but too many thorny roses will spoil the bouquet. Sometimes it's important to know when to say no. Okay, so it seems like interesting. I'm not sure that there's like enough there. I think in my mind, it kind of reminds me of another flower themed game where you're giving flowers to people called Tulip. What was that one about? Oh gosh. Let me see if I can find it. Not Tulip Bubble. Maybe Gift of Tulips. It sounds like a similar premise to this game, but maybe a little bit lighter. And to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Gift of Tulips, so I'm not sure how I would feel about an even lighter version. And I think, again, with that like 3 to 6 player, 15-minute, super easy kind of that whole package, I think there are a lot of games that are 3 to 6 players that play in about 15 minutes that might use similar types of mechanics that I would prefer. So yeah, it's just a set collection. It doesn't even say bluffing or anything, which that might just be, you know, a lack of information there, but it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on. So yeah, offer, if they decline, it's yours and you want to get a bouquet. So kind of like cockroach poker, but maybe even lighter. So I don't think that I would necessarily be interested in trying this one, just because, again, it seems like there are a lot of other games that are very similar that are really well established. Like this is a 6.1 with 116 ratings. Let me check Cockroach Poker, since that's the one that sounds, ooh, Cockroach Po. And let's see where that's sitting at in terms of like ratings and things. Yeah, 6.8 with 15K rating. So honestly, probably similar rating scheme, because BGG's rating system is busted as all hell. And this has way more ratings, so it's going to bring the average up a lot more per rating. But yeah, I think, you know, knowing that I have like Cockroach Poker or Royal Cockroach Poker over that, I think I would probably just play that every time. So it's not one I'm super interested in checking out. This next game, however, oh man, what a game. I almost didn't put it on the list because it's like, you know, romance. But the way I present this game is like, all right, are y'all ready for like 2 minutes? Not even 2 minutes, probably like a minute and a half of madness. Your goal is to plow and eat. Like, what a romantic premise, am I right? But Call of the Wild is one of the craziest games, basically. And I've talked about this on the channel before, but you have a series of different animals in your den, and you're trying to get them to mate. So the whipaloon, for example, says, "Chi-chi." You're going to put it face down, and you can say, "Chi-chi, chi-chi," looking for someone else who's yelling "chi-chi." And then you can decide to meet up. Consent is important by like locking eyes or pushing your cards towards each other. And then you flip them over. So if 2 whipaloons meet up, hey, nice, they successfully mate, and you get the other person's card as a point. However, this is a real-time bluffing game. So even if you have a whipaloon that says chi-chi, you might actually be a snorkelet who's making the chi-chi noise because you want to eat a whipaloon. So, for example, if like, I'm being honest as a whipaloon and someone else makes chi-chi, but they're actually that little snake guy there, and we meet and flip over, if you're one size bigger, you actually eat the other animal and bring them back to your den, so you get both cards, which is 2 points. Everybody has unique objectives as well that you can play with, like try to eat so many of this animal or don't get eaten by this many players. And it's just like crazy good fun. You explain it in 2 seconds. You go, after like a minute and a half, it's done. It's just a like huge table of people screaming like, "Yip, yip, yip, chi-chi, haroom, haroom." Like insanity. But it is one of the coolest, craziest games. I feel like even if you don't enjoy those types of games, like it's an experience. Even just watching it, I feel like is pretty fun. I can't recommend it enough. It is actually pretty genius, like how simple the rules are, but how much depth of strategy there is with the bluffing aspect of it. I know that real time is not everybody's bag, but this is definitely a really cool experience. And it says 3 to 6 players, 5 to 15 minutes. I would say if you're taking 15 minutes to get all the animals out of your den, too slow, man. Like you can literally play it in about 2 minutes. So it's a really, really fun time. One of the most unique games I've played. I definitely think this belongs in S tier in terms of I'm always down to play it. It's a game I get so excited to show people, even though it's not, everybody's going to be everybody's favorite game. I think for what they set out to do with the bluffing and the fun aspect of it and the strategy and the depth that's there as well, I think they really accomplished that with this design. So if any of that sounds even remotely fun to you, you have to check it out. So yeah, that was Call of the Wild. Sounds like bars in Houston. Dang. You're just yelling out animal noises and hoping you get a bite. Oh man, yeah. Hopefully you can get it off your shelf then and on the table. It's like, it's a wild good time. Very, very fun. So this next game isn't necessarily romance themed exclusively, but I figure if there's any time to talk about it on one of these tier lists, this would definitely be the time to talk about it. So I guess this is it from Button Shy Games. It is a 2-player RPG game. It's cooperative in nature, and the whole theme is your 2 characters saying goodbye. So this could be 2 lovers, 2 friends, 2 random people that met on a bus and had like a, maybe in another life. It could be any level of things. So I do want to specify this one is not necessarily only about romantic scenarios, although I would imagine that a lot of the scenarios that people might come up with or the characters, that's definitely within the realm of possibility. This is a really interesting one. So basically you have a hand of cards and you're playing them as inspiration for the interaction you have with your prospective partner. One person is the person staying and one person is the person leaving. And based on the prompts that you get with the one word up in the top left corner, as well as the art, you're constructing a dialogue. Each of the cards is also going to have these different icons on the various sides. So if you're able to match icons, you get special abilities that allow you to trade cards or do different things. And if they match in terms of short to short side or long to long side, you have like harmony in your discourse. Whereas if you have a long and a short side, it means you're not on the same page and you're actually going to flip cards on the timeline so that you have less and less time to say goodbye to one another and play the cards from your hand. There's no explicit win condition for this game. It's definitely more of like that RPG style game, but with some elements of, games in terms of having some mechanics there. But even for me, like I said, not being super into RPGs, I just think that this is such a fascinating design and it's really elegantly crafted with the art and with how the things work together. There's definitely like a somber nature to it, although you don't have to play it that way, just the way that the rule book is written and things like that. It's definitely, it's definitely an experience. And you're trying to get all the cards out of your hands. So you could count that as like a win condition if you're able to complete the dialogue. But the shorter that conversation gets or the less pair-ups you have with your cards, at the end of the game, you just like lay out your cards on the table. And that's like what could have been or what you left unsaid because you didn't quite have the words or didn't get an opportunity to say it. It's a really cool experience. Like it's one of these games where I think about it and talk about it and get like a little emotional just because, I don't know, it's something really special, I feel. Again, not necessarily a game for everyone, but I think it is a very cool experience, very concise in what it does, but it does it so well. So I'm going to put this one as an A tier game. If you're into RPGs or, interested in exploring that in a 2-player format, this is definitely one that I would recommend getting into. Well, to go a full 180, we're going to go on to another romantic theme game, Tanto Cuore. So this is a deck building game. And you're the lord of a manor, I guess, and you're trying to fill your mansion with cute maids. So that's a thing. I'm afraid to click on some of these images, guys. Oh man. Yep, uses the theme of maids commonly seen in anime. How nice. Oh, if it's in a transport box, you can take your maids with you anywhere you want. Give me the whole box. You can have a whole box of maids. So yeah, you're hiring maids, filling out your house to become the king of maids. All right. Life goals, man. And whoever has the most VP, you're going to employ a variety of maids and love cards. I don't know why that's in quote, love cards, to allow for different strategies. There are also private maids, ooh, that stick around to use their special powers each turn. What up, girl? Am I going to get in trouble if I click on the images for this game? This one looks kind of safe. Okay, this looks safe. This will be our example. So we have some very nice maids. VP deck building looks like they have like a cost and then an amount of VP that you can get, different abilities, etc. So there you have it. I do like deck building. I'm not sure that the theme really speaks to me, you know. In a past life, I was king of maids, so like been there, done that. You know, unless I'm told differently, I'm gonna put this one in the not interested category. No, listen up. If somebody comes to me and is like, "Yo, Toki, Tanto Cuore is actually one of the best, finest, most amazing mechanical games I've ever played. You need to try it," maybe. But I'm going to say, you know, just based on my personal preference, not something I'm like, ooh, gimme, can't wait for that love mechanic. I'm so excited. So there's that. Yo, I'm going to just let you know, trigger warning, maybe? I don't know. I moved the last game we're going to talk about. I moved to the very end so people can peace out before we go over it. It's one of my like grail games that I'm like, I need to get this. And basically everything I just said about Tanto Cuore creeping me out is going to look completely invalid when I go over it. But, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So just stick around. And, you know, I figure if we're going to get like taken off a platform and demonetized, it might as well be at the end of the stream so we can get through all the other games first. That's how much. How much is Tanto Cuore? Asked it for a friend. Can you really put a price on love? Oh, what do you think? Basically, Dominion with culling to score. Does Dominion not have culling? Isn't that like a primary deck building mechanic at this point? But I guess the Dominion's like a million years old. Unlike those maids. Ooh. Okay, moving on. We're gonna go on to Black Sonata. So, this is a game that I have done a solo party video on. It is pretty cool. It is a solo game where you are searching through London trying to get the identity or deduce the identity of Shakespearean's lady, the Dark Lady. So he's writing about his love, and basically you have all of these potential people who it could be. You're using deduction by going to different towns and getting clues to try to figure out who she actually is. So not too dissimilar in some ways from Too Many Cinderellas, where each of these different ladies who could be the one Dark Lady have different qualities that you're trying to rule out throughout the game until you're left with one who has the three correct qualities. And it's a fascinating game. I know that a lot of y'all might be familiar with it and may have played it in the community. But if you haven't, it is a super, super awesome design game. It's one of the games where I look at it and I'm like, how did someone come up with this? Basically, as you go, you get these cards that have the clue, and they have a hole punch, which you line up with like the actual card that has like the correct kind of like answers and things. And basically it shows you like either a silhouette or not for whether she's been in that town or not. And each town has like different elements that are associated with it. So you're chasing around this this map and trying to track where the Dark Lady could be based on where she might have been seen and those different things that those different characteristics. So like, oh, I heard she's a musician of some sort, or that she has a child, or she doesn't, or she was married or not. And you're gallivanting around London trying to find out who she is. One of the most ingenious designs I've ever seen. super cool for solo play. I haven't gotten to delve into the expansions quite as much. I know some people in the community have, so if you're interested in that, there's a lot of content, but you can also, hey, join the Discord, ask some of our friends. But yeah, this is like a super cool game. If you're into solo gaming and deduction at all, like S tier, easy peasy, gotta try it. It's a really, really awesome one. So yeah, masterpiece. Yeah, that is definitely a great word for it. Are there hentai board games? Oh my gosh, guys, we went over this in the Discord when I was asking, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable putting, what is it called? Tentacle Bento on here. I'm not going to talk about it here. If y'all want to look at it, I thought the Kickstarter got canceled because there were some very problematic, like, things with the theme and how the mechanics worked and like what it was insinuating, but apparently it went through, so y'all have a heyday looking at that if you want to, or stick around for the end of the video where we talk about not that game, but no spoilers. Okay. So the next game we have Love Letter, or Love Letter Princess of Power, or Love Letter The Hobbit, Love Letter Adventure Time, Love Letter Batman, Love Letter Premium Edition. Basically anybody can be in love. Yeah. So, Love Letter, if you haven't heard, is a game where you are trying to woo the princess by having the best card in your hand. Each round, you draw a card, play a card. You can swap stuff based on it, based on the like level or number. I guess if you don't have the princess like the highest card, right? Is that how that works? There are quite a few different iterations of this game. For a while, I swore by the fact that like, so the deluxe edition plays up to 8 instead of just 4, and then there's like a Cthulhu themed version, Lovecraft Letter. I can pull it up. That has really nice components and plays to 6, but then it went out of print for a while, but then it was back. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be honest and say that the most recent times that I've played this in years, whether it's Lovecraft Letter or just Blando Love Letter, not my bag. There are just so many other games that do similar things. That are more concise, that are, I don't know, more interactive, that feel more fresh. I think definitely this game was important in inspiring like a lot of other games with similar mechanics. But like, when did it come out? 2012? Yeah. So it, you know, it definitely, I think, shows its age. For me, I would put this in a, people are going to hate this, but I'm going to put it as a D tier. In fact, like the last time we played Lovecraft Letter, I was very close to saying like, y'all just finished without me. And I try to be as good of a sport as possible, even if I'm like hating a game and hating the experience of playing it. But that was like one of the times where I was like, you know, maybe it would just be better for me and everyone on the planet if I just walked away. So that's where I'm at with Love Letter. Again, if you enjoy it, cool, great, good. But there are a lot of other games that are similar and I think a little more well-designed or more interesting. Speaking of which, we have Xian. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but this is a 3 to 6 player game. It plays in, I would say 30 minutes is generous. It's a little shorter than that. This is a game that I found on the Game Crafter. Shout out to our Late Night Wildin', whatchamacallit, live stream that we did the other month. With some Game Crafter games. And it's inspired by the Chinese tale of Cinderella. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the list here. Why can I? Ooh, images. There we go. Okay. Because it's newer, I had to make a listing for it. So this is what the cover looked like. This is what the whole game is. It's just 18 cards. Basically, it's a similar premise of you have some cards that are, there's like Xian, Chan. I'm not sure. Again, sorry, pronunciation. There's some slippers. It switches between day and evening. So basically you want to have her in her royal garb during the evening time, in which case you win. Or if you manage to get both of the slipper cards together, that's like an alternate win condition. You have cards that are face up in the pavilion, cards that are face down in the cave. So you can like push your luck to swap out cards with the cave or play cards to the pavilion and reveal more information, but using the power. It has a very similar feel to games like Love Letter, but it's much more concise in terms of the little package, and I think that like this theme is really cool. Again, we've had a lot of Cinderella themed games here, but there it is. So I would say Xian, you know, there's some randomness to it, as there is, you know, with all these kinds of games, but there is some fun bluffing and some interesting things there. So I would put this at like a C tier. It's not like the best thing that's ever been made, but I think it's a really cool, interesting play. And again, I think that there's some innovation there with how you can interact with different groupings of cards versus just between players, or like one central pile with like the face up and face down card there. So it's worth trying out. Oh, I have Love Letter on here twice. I did Princess Ever After, which is the same as Love Letter. Yes. So we're going to put that back into the D tier with the other one. So what is Genji? Go around a circle of cards, collect baiting, gaining, and of poem cards, trying to woo princesses who have their favorite season styles represented on the cards. Oh, that sounds really cool. Hold on. Genji. That sounds very, very cool. Okay. I'll have to look into this one for sure. Okay. I like it. Princesses and poetry. Say no more. That sounds pretty fun. 2004 masterpiece, Pimps and Hoes. Like I said, there were a lot of questionable games on the love game theme list that I didn't include. So, you know, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the comments if there are any I missed. Oh, God. Is this one called Dungeon Date? So this is one that came out kind of recently. It's got like adventure time themish art, I think. Maybe it might be the same artist. I don't know. I've never seen the show, but like, you know, watched, seen. But romance, befriend, and slay monsters with stylish adventuring outfits. This game looks like a hoot. It's 1 to 4 players as well, which I'm interested in what like the solo play would be. So I guess, whoa, that is way too big. I guess basically you're going through and matching up different traits, it looks like, with some of the different monsters that you come across. And it seems like it's like the old like marry, kill. I forgot what the third one is. Is there really any other option? Smash. So you build your outfit of adventuring gear. All right. Fashion souls, let's go. And then you use your sweet look to romance, befriend, and slay a dungeon full of monsters. I don't know. That just sounds fun. You can visit same doors, new doors, matching style symbols. Okay. I mean, it seems interesting. It was a Kickstarter with a 7.6, which means it's really closer to a 6.6. I would have to do more research on it. Let's see. 9, 3, 7, 8, 10, 9. Awesome game. Chaos. Actual gameplay is match icons. Cute game. Absolutely unbalanced. All right. So it looks like it's crazy good fun. I would say if it's like very short, 20 to 45 minutes. I would say like 20 minutes would be good, but based on that description, 45 minutes would be pushing it for me. But just because I'm really curious to see, and I feel like I could blast through it, especially if there's a solo mode, I'm going to put this in the want to try. This just seems like a fun time. And I didn't realize, I thought you were just collecting sets. I didn't realize the sets you're collecting are based on your outfit. So like, that sounds like a wildly good time. I'm pretty down with that. So that's Dungeon Date. If any of y'all have tried it, let me know. And actually, wait, sure. Let me see. Yeah. So that's one that I'm going to have to keep an eye out for to see if I ever get to try it. All right. Hanamikoji. It's hard to type and talk at the same time. Hanamikoji is the next one on the list. This is a 2-player game with some like I cut you choose mechanics. If you haven't heard of this game, is this the first time you're seeing one of our streams and or videos? Because I freaking love this game. It is actually like one of the best games. Basically you have these different geisha who you're trying to win favor by playing their favorite item to their side, but you don't necessarily get to play what you have in your hand. You're going to set them out in different pre-selected groups for your opponent to take, and then you get the remainder. So kind of like that I cut you choose kind of mechanic. I love the idea of you can't just play cards from your hand. They go through some intermediary step. Games like this, Hats, Botanic, are just like music to my ears. The art, fantastic. The production, amazing. Originally published by Emperor S4, and more recently, Taiwan Board Game Design did a Kickstarter for this, and Hanamikoji Geisha's Road, which is like a little version of Hanamikoji with a few more mechanics as well. But yeah, this one plays in just about 15 minutes. There are also expansions with that vary up the 4 actions you can use for the I cut you choose. And it is just like, again, somebody used the word masterpiece in the chat for Black Sonata. This one, absolute freaking masterpiece, banger of a game. If you haven't tried it and you're, you know, have an opportunity to play 2-player games, it's definitely one you need to check out. So Hanamikoji, shout out again for the millionth time on the channel. There are just some games that are just like, I just know they're always going to be in my top 10, you know, and that's one of them. Tussy Mussy. So this one is about the Victorian era exchange of flowers and floral arrangement to convey certain meanings as you're like going through the stages of courting someone. I don't know if it's called Tussy Mussy, Tussy Mussy, Tassy Massy, Tissy Missy. Who knows? But this is another one that was picked up by Button Shy Games. And I have to say, like, it's pretty fun. The art is great. It is what it is. It's got some bluffing to it. So you're offering flowers to people either face up or face down. They decide to accept or like putting them out face up and face down. And then you have to draft the cards. The hearts inherently are worth points, but then each flower has unique scorings and things like that. But whether they're face up or face down as well indicates whether they're in your, I forget what it's called. Is it your bouquet versus your, where did it go? Bouquet? And I don't know. But face up and face down have like different delineations as well for scoring. And yeah, the I cut you choose, where you choose which one to show and which one to put face down, and someone else gets to either take what you offered face up or push their luck with what's face down. There are quite a few different expansions as well. There are like ribbons that get you extra scoring, the greenery, orange flowers that have different ways of scoring and rearranging cards. There's some really fun, cute mechanics. It's a great presentation. It's a super light game, but there's some fun strategy with like the bluffing. I would say, again, 30 minutes is pretty generous. You could probably play this game in like 6 minutes. Or if you're doing multiple rounds back to back, you know, maybe 15. So it's a very, very straightforward, easy to learn, easy to teach, easy to carry with the little wallets. Overall, I would say it's a really solid game. So I'm gonna put this in the A tier. I think for me, like, I'm leaning towards B tier, but when I think about like the pure design and like how well constructed it is, I definitely think it's like deserving of that A tier. So that's where that one is. All right. The next one we have, I think this is this what it's called? Marrying Mr. Darcy? Is this the game? No, this is a different game. Oh God, it's so tiny. What are you? This was one that was maybe it is Marrying Mr. Darcy. I guess that is. All right, so we're gonna take a look at this. Ta-da! Oh no, Marrying Mr. Darcy is coming up. We'll just do this since we're here. So improve your heroine. So she's a more attractive match for the available suitors. Okay. Let's see. So we have, all right, what do we have? Betting and bluffing, dice rolling, hand management, push your luck, role playing, and 3 more. Summoning mechanics, set collection, take that, variable player powers. Wow, it sounds a little bit like a hot mess. Based on just that description. It looks like it was a Kickstarter with 6.4, so that really means like 5.4. How many ratings do we have? 1.8k. Yeah, that's enough ratings for it to should be higher for a Kickstarter. So we have 2 stages, courtship stage and proposal stage. So you try to improve your heroine's chances by earning player points with player character cards and cunning cards. Okay, and then the heroine who acquired the most cunning gets to be first to enter the proposal stage. Okay, so you're like doing a trade-off of like being first to the party or like working on self-improvement so that you have better chances of like attracting Mr. Darcy. I don't know, man. So here's the game. Oh, but it looks like they're different gentlemen. What's happening? The Pride and Prejudice card game. All right. So it looks like it's just a couple cards in a box, but there's a single die. That's how you know it's really smashing. Got some different dudes here. Okay. I mean, I think I've seen all I need to see. I don't know. Denny? Wait, they got the dude from The Room? Isn't that the dude's name? Denny? Am I crazy right now? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Denny? Hold on. Pause. We need to go on a quick side quest. Denny? Is that... Yeah, his name is Denny. An orphaned adult college student who's financially dependent on Johnny. Denny. Second Reddit post. Who the F is Denny? That's the second thing. Wait, he's... Y'all. Denny is based on Greg Sestero, the guy who plays Mark. Tommy Wiseau adopted Greg and let him move into the spare apartment. Wait, what? I'm not claiming to be like a lore expert on The Room, but this is wild. I just need to bookmark this tab for later. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're closing out of that. Anyways, okay, so, right, where were we? Marrying Mr. Darcy. Not interested. Moving on. All right, next one. Rebel Princess. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Oh, and I lost track of my chat. Where we go? Okay, perfect. All right. Oh, Rebel Princess. Let's see. Boom. Okay. All right. So Rebel Princess is a trick-taking game, not dissimilar to Hearts, where you're trying to avoid marriage proposals and become the only single princess at the end of the party. So basically, the idea is 3 to 6 players, 30 to 40 minutes. You have your princess card, which gives you a unique ability, and you're going through playing tricks. The princesses are having their party, and the negative suit are the princes. They have skulls on them. So until somebody plays a prince out of suit, that's like the prince is breaking in. You can't lead princes because they're not invited. No boys allowed. It is a really cute game. I love the art. I love the theme. I think that the mechanics match the theme really well with like the princess breaking into the party and everything. The game goes on too damn long. It's 5 rounds, and after like one round, there are cards that let you change up slightly each round, like where you draft and how you draft. But essentially, most of the rounds come down to being the same thing. I'm like inclined to put this in C tier, but based on the fact that it's based off of an already super well-established trick-taking game, like I've never played Hearts, but everybody I've played this with, they're like, oh, basically it's just Hearts with like player powers and like you might be able to manipulate your cards at the beginning. I'm gonna put it in D tier. I'm gonna be honest. Like I should love this game. I love the theme, love the art, the gameplay, snooze fest. Don't like it. I recently played it again just the other weekend. And yeah, I don't know. It's not a game that I'm looking forward to playing again. And it's like, if there was a target demographic for that theme, that art, all of it, it's me. Hi, hello. So the fact that it didn't hit with me just based on how lackluster the gameplay was. And again, like I love trick taking. Like I am the target demographic for this game. D tier. Don't really have any interest in playing it. I don't know what to tell you. There are so many other trick taking games that are so much better. Or other games with like probably similar themes or great artwork that are so much better. It was just a miss for me. So there's that one. I think this next game is called Deadly Dowagers. We're going to see if that works. Yes. Okay, here we go. So this is the one that was brought up by someone in our Discord. It's 2 to 6 players, 30 to 90 minutes. Whoa, that sounds intense. Marry, bury, inherit, repeat. Okay. Card game, human murder mystery, close drafting, hand management, race. For drafting in a race game, 90 minutes seems really long. So basically you're going in, drafting, investment, husband, housekeeping. Girl boss. like the opposite of girl boss. And pick and pass style. That's a different game. Certain cards are played into players' tableaus. Instant cards are played and discarded. Okay, great, cool. Game ends when one player has no current husband, more than 9 infamy, and spends 120 crowns and plays a remarry card to marry the Duke. That player wins. Holy flip! What? That's so many things just to win. Now I know it takes 90 minutes. All right. So yeah, we've got some cards for like going around marrying and murdering dudes. I don't know. It says 30 minutes on the box, but then why does BGD say 30 to 90 minutes? I feel like the weight and like what the game is, drafting and stuff, feels like it should be like a 15-minute game. So the thought of like this potentially going on for 90 minutes, I feel like I would just, I don't think it's for me. So I'm going to put it in not interested. Oh, somebody mentioned Pete Mott in the chat. Pete Mott. Yeah, and I think that's fair. You are trying to pair up male and female birds. This is a smashing good game. Yeah, this is a really, really fun one. If y'all haven't played it, it's, again, that mechanic of you don't just play cards in front of you. You have to play them to, like, the bird feeder first, and then once they get a certain number of birds on one side of the feeder, they, like, condense down, and you get some of the birds that fly away. It's a really ingenious design. The set collection is, like, really top-notch, solid game. I would put this one in A tier if I had the photo and could, like, add it very quickly. But yeah, if y'all haven't checked out Peapods, it's also on BGA, I think. So that's a good one. All right. Let's see. Love Rebel Princess, but party for nostalgia and theme. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think for me, it was like, I got so many other trick-taking games, you know? Unless it does something like innovative or is short and concise. I think that's the other problem is it's 5 rounds. And like, I don't know. I love trick taking as much as the next person, but that game is long. Maybe if it was 3 rounds, maybe, I don't know. Okay, and then we have Cinder. So this is 1 to 5 players, 30 to 40 minutes. Live fast, burn bright. Hit me up and we'll start some fires. What up? Date dragons without getting burned. So you can either be a dragon looking for companionship or an adventurous person looking to get into the dragon dating scene. It's a push your luck dice game. So you set up a dating profile and thumb through matches to see if a given dragon sounds compatible. Okay. Interesting. There's a whelp out deck. What does that mean? What? So it looks like your sheet, image is not available. Interesting. It looks like you have your little sheet here for your compatibility, and you have dice that you roll to try to match odds with different dating profiles. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it seems like a fun idea. I'm not a huge fan of like dice. Push your luck can be very fun, but this game definitely looks like it's more on the like, yeah, fun, swipey Tinder game. People like dragons, right? People want to date dragons. Not me. I don't know. Something about that is like, I don't know. I don't know that I'm into it. Again, once I talk about the last game, everything I've said about all the other games that I might feel not inclined towards liking are going to sound completely ridiculous, but I'm going to say tentatively, based on the theme, even though the art is really well done, I don't like the theme of like, yeah, I'm going to plow a dragon. Not about it. And the dice, don't think that would be my favorite, so I'm going to put this in not interested. Obsession is a game people really like. Basically, you're renovating your house, getting it ready for the ball, for courtship, etc., getting different like workers and things and like guests into your hand and using them. So you have like unique workers that you can place out on the board. There's some set collection, some tile placement, etc. Y'all probably know about this game. I'm gonna be honest. I've played it, I think, twice now, and it is not my bag, not my favorite. I'm gonna put this at a C tier, which people are probably gonna crucify me for, but like, I've played other games that have similar mechanics that do it cleaner and better, and I've played other games that have more mechanics or similar depth of mechanics that just spoke to me more. So, you know, maybe it's that I'm not super into the theme, but that's what I've heard too, is that a lot of people who really like it, like there are some solid mechanics, don't get me wrong, but I've heard by and large from people who like really love the game. It's like, oh, but it's fun to get dressed up and like have a tea party and speak in an accent. And like, well, I'm not about the RP. So just from a mechanical standpoint, like, I don't know. I expected that this game had come out earlier, but 2018, like that's a little late in the game to be doing these same mechanics. Not that it doesn't do it in like a new or solid way, but like there are other games that I think feel a little bit more fresh, in my opinion, that are similar that I've liked more. So that's where Express Obsession ranks for me. We have Romeo and Juliet, which I don't know much about. Came out in 2020, 2 players, 10 to 35 minutes. That's an interesting cover. My gosh. Let's see. And it's a card game with some deduction. I love deduction. Area movement, communication limits. Also love that in cooperative games, hand management and storytelling. So it looks like it could be interesting. I like that you're using the box as the board. Big fan of that. Just from like a kind of, whatchamacallit, design functional standpoint. So yeah, 9 chapters. So those are the difficulty levels. Must reach love before the peak of the 3rd act. Okay, so you can't communicate freely. That makes sense for this theme. That actually sounds pretty cool. Otherwise, the hatred between the families will deepen. Cleverly play cards and messages. I like that idea. I'm not a big fan of that cover, but the actual mechanics and things really intrigue me. So I'm gonna put this in the want to try. All right, we got a couple more, and also my camera is dying. So we're gonna keep moving along here. Fairy Tale. All right. This is like more of a kids game, yellow, published, very well produced. And basically you have your 3 different characters, the princess, the knight, and the dragon. And each card is going to allow you to do different things or require you to have them in certain places on the tiles by moving them along and progressing the story. So honestly, I had this in a collection. I sold it. I don't have kids. I think that this is a really solid game, though, if you're looking for something really light, or if you have kids, you know. It's super well produced, yellow. Everything they touch is just like really, really nice. I love the art, love the theme. It's not super deep mechanically, but there are some cool objectives. Like it feels like a really, really, really light version of Takenoko, if I'm being honest, which is a compliment. I love Takenoko. So although this one wasn't for me, just because, you know, I'm not the target demographic, I will say that it's a really solid game for its audience. So I'm going to put this in the B tier. Yeah, if you're looking for a lighter game or have kids and that sounds interesting to you, this is a super cool one to keep an eye out for. All right, and then we have Dream Date. So I'm not sure, is it called Dream Date? Dream Crush. There is a game called Dream Date, though. Man, we missed out on all the romance. So 2 to 6 players, dating party game, 30 minutes. I love the cover. I'm super into that. And then look into your heart, choose your favorite crush. Played over 5 rounds. There's a milestone card with steadily increasing impact. Each person secretly chooses a crush to embark upon the milestone with. Write it on your scorecard. Predict who your friends will pick. So yeah, it's a party game. I love that it's like actual photos of people. Wait, is that Elijah Wood? Y'all. Francois? That's just Elijah Wood, right? Am I crazy? Is that allowed? Did he agree to that? What the hell? So yeah, you have your different like dream crushes that you can select and you're trying to match up on this sheet, I guess. I don't know. This is a little, I think I would like be down more if it wasn't actual pictures of people, but like even here I can see there's like actual people there, pictures instead of like illustrations. I'm not entirely sure that it's like a game. It seems like more of an activity, which doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. There are plenty of games that are activity based that I super love. Oh, here's a reskin. Yeah, I'm gonna put this one in the not interested though, I think, unfortunately. I don't know that there's enough there. This last game, however, If you need to leave, leave. The name is the game. It's called Consentacle. I'm gonna just let you sit with that for a moment. And again, if you need to leave, thanks so much for joining. It was great seeing you. Happy Valentine's Day. Love you. Bye. I'm really hoping that it's gonna be safe. I think it is. I looked ahead of time and I think it's fine. But the tagline is learn important lessons about consent and communication as you date an alien. So y'all that were asking about that earlier, there you go. 2-player game, 10 to 35 minutes. Yeah, there we go. So basically you have to work together to communicate and build trust so that you can do sexual things with each other, even if you don't have open communication. This sounds wild, and there's nothing about it that I'm like, yeah. Normally all of it I would be like, no. But for some reason, it sounds really well done, and I am so curious. I haven't gotten to try it. So here's the cover. Cover's fine. We can show that. Can I show the cards? God, I'm so like, is it hot in here? I'm sweating. Ugh. Okay, where's the X on the browser? Cool. Just in case we need to, or I'll just have my finger on backspace just in case. Too many people that need this game. Which game? This one, Consentacle? I don't know, man. Let's see. Is that safe? I can't. So basically you have cards and you're like trying to coordinate to build those trust tokens, and so that you can complete acts. Is that? I think that's safe. Okay. So, yeah. So like, oh, just give a little smooch, you know? Are those hickeys? Oh my God, what the Or to like, you know, there's eye contact is very important for building trust. So yeah, I don't know. I am fascinated by the premise. Again, I love limited communication, cooperative 2-player games. Like those are all a hit. The art, while the theme doesn't necessarily speak to me, I think with the art this well done, it becomes hilarious and I'm like intrigued. Normally, if the art was like subpar and not super beautiful, I'd be like, oh no, get that out of here. But I'm like, man, they put a lot of like thought and effort into this. Like, is it actually good? It's self-published? I don't know, man. This was a passion project for sure. So I'm gonna, like, this is one that I am, like I said, it's one of my Grail games. I'm dying to try it. If y'all ever see a cheap copy, let me know. I don't think I can spend real money on it just because of the nature of it. Like, I don't know how many people I would be like, hey, so yeah, 2-player games, you want to bang an alien? I just don't know, you know, like how often I'll get to play it. So there's that. That's the last game on there, Consentacle. If you played it, let me know if it's worth my time. So there we go. That is our February tier list of romance-themed games. Let me know down in the comments if you're watching this in the future, if there are any games I missed, what your thoughts are on some of these games, if you agree, if you disagree, and why. No games in the F tier, so that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, based on how I feel about Love Letter, it might go there, but I think like the game itself does not deserve to be an F tier, so we'll leave it at that. But without further ado, thank you so much as always for joining me. Again, if you're interested in checking out any of these games, link down below for Noble Night. Clicking that link directly supports the channel and can help you find some great deals on some great games, like tomorrow's unboxing stream with this giant box. If y'all weren't here earlier, I showed this, but like I am beyond excited to open up this single game beauty, one of the most expensive games I have ever purchased, courtesy of Noble Knights, and getting it for cheaper than the Kickstarter originally was for the game. So yeah, there's that. Again, happy February. Sorry that this stream came a little bit late. Real life happens sometimes and it's unfortunate, but thank you as always. Huge shout out to our members. Y'all are the best. Join the Discord. That's where I'm going to be putting out feelers for next month's tier list as well. If you have more recommendations and want to share them, that would be awesome. Thanks so much as always for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.